G'day guys, welcome back to No Man's Sky. Behind me here is the Iron Vulture, which was one of the rewards from completing the Adrfit Expedition. So in this video, I'll quickly go through the upgrades and stats, and take her out for a spin and we'll check out how she flies. Then it's time to test her in combat with the Sentinels, and we'll see how she goes. As always, thanks for watching. Please consider giving the video a like if you enjoy the content, and maybe even subscribe if you'd like to see more. So let's get into it. First up, the Supercharged Slot arrangement is pretty good. You can group 3 together either horizontally or vertically and still get all your adjacency bonuses. As you can see, I've just used S-Class upgrades, but obviously you can do a bit better on the stats if you use the best X-Class ones. Stat-wise, with only one weapon fitted, a base damage of 360 is actually pretty good. Shields are always strongest on haulers anyway, but the Vulture comes in at 461, which is pretty high. The hyperdrive range is also decent at over 1400. But it's the maneuverability stat that surprised me, as 1200 is more than I expected, especially for a hauler. As far as damage output goes, all of the following numbers are just with the standard photon cannon, so we can use it as a reference. And again, this is just with S-Class upgrades and using 3 supercharged slots and adjacency. So if you have your enemy strength set to challenging, you can expect around 12,000 damage per second from the cannon. If the enemy strength is set to standard, you'll get around 18,000 DPS. And if the enemy strength is set to weak, you'll get around 45,000 damage per second from the cannon. Now set your enemy strength however you like for your own gameplay, but I much prefer the challenging setting personally, and this is what I'll use for the battle. For those in VR, the visibility is pretty good, and I do like the cockpit view in this one, so it's definitely a good option for VR. As far as flying the Iron Vulture, it's the best performing hauler that I've flown, and it did exceed my expectations. However, it's nowhere near as good in the handling department as some of the other types of starship, and obviously wouldn't be my first choice for combat. As you can see, it really slows down in tight corners and does take some time to get back up to speed. And that's about the only thing about the Iron Vulture that I personally don't like. She's not that fast either, but the Vulture is technically a hauler and it's never going to perform like the other types of ships. But all in all, she handles pretty well, and it's still good fun to fly. So to start the Sentinel battle, I just attacked one on the surface of a planet, then jumped into my ship and headed into space. So phase 1, and it's just one Sentinel ship, and pretty easy enough to defeat, though it does take a little more work than it would with a fighter or Sentinel. Again, just one ship for phase 2, and again, not really a threat. And my shields are still pretty much intact. Phase 3, we have 2 interceptors after us, and I'm starting to really notice the difference in agility compared to the ships I normally use. But still, easy enough to beat the 2 Sentinel ships, and my shields are still good. Phase 4, there are 3 interceptors. Here you can really see the Iron Vulture struggles a little, especially keeping up in the turns. but the shields are still holding up and the firepower is enough to dispatch the 3 Sentinel ships pretty easily. Final phase with the Sentinel battleship. And I did have to replenish the shields, especially as I got in close to destroy the Sentinel cannons and the Sentinel shields. But now the Sentinel ship is defenseless and all we need to do is destroy it. And even though the stats for weapons are pretty decent, with only 12,000 damage per second, it does take a little while to destroy the hull, and I had to let the photon cannon recharge a couple of times. All in all, the Iron Vulture does pretty well, but as I said earlier, it wouldn't be my first choice for combat. However, it's good to know that she can handle anything the game throws at you, even on challenging enemy strength settings. Overall, I like the Iron Vulture, I like the look of it, and having something different in my hangar, though I did change the wings on the one in my main save. And if you can get the parts, I love the fact that you can customise and design your own Iron Vulture, which is pretty cool. I'll be honest, I do like the look of some of the haulers, but I'm not a fan on how they handle, as I much prefer the agility of fighters or sentinels or even explorers. But for a hauler, the Iron Vulture is excellent, and she's something I use for random exploration and even the occasional expedition. Anyway, thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed the vid, please remember to give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more No Man's Sky content. Cheers guys, thanks again, and have a good one.